And the correct fitment for the studs into the block to engage correctly is to screw them right in to the bore, the thread. No need to tension the actual stud down. I've got to put a nice amount of lube on the either side of the washer and the side of the nut, so just wipe each side of the washer with the lube. Doesn't matter how much, doesn't have to look pretty. Underside of the nut. Once again, doesn't matter, that stuff can be wiped off after. Now what is quite annoying with these ARP stud kits that are coming into the country is the studs aren't the correct length to get the proper nut perch. So Lewis Engines is going to the PRI show this year in the States, and we're going to hook up with ARP and we're going to create a nice contact there so we can bring the correct studs in, specific for Lewis Engines for TD42 head studs and main stud kits. So what has to happen is these studs have to be backed off, which is not a nice way to do it, but it doesn't affect anything. But it'd be nice to have them bottom out with the correct amount of thread inside the nut. So what I do is I back the stud off probably one, nearly 2 turns, and then I'll make sure the nuts are level with the top of the stud to get the right amount of thread perch. So we're going to tension these studs up in 3 stages. The first stage was 30 Newton meters in sequence. Second stage is 75 Newton meters, and the final torque is 170 Newton meters. Using the old conventional Norbar wrench here. Usually use a snap-on digital one, but got a couple of different torque wrenches. Okay. Now we've tensioned up to our last stage of 170 Newton meters on all the head studs, and there's another modification that needs to be done inside the rocker shaft. It's got to be ground away to clear the head studs which run vertically along underneath the rocker shaft. So we just grind a mil or so out of there. Don't have to be too much, just enough to clear. Just want to see probably half a mil clearance under there. And with the final tension, ARP are recommending at 170 Newton meters, they'll deliver 75% of their clamping load, and at 190 Newton meters, they'll deliver 85%. So if it's a TD engine, it's going to run about 20 pounds boost. I'll always tension them to 170 Newton meters, and on the big boosted ones, I'll do them to 190 Newton meters, but the block has to be hone plate honed. So we tension down an aluminium hone plate onto the top of the bores with the studs in it, done up to 190 Newton meters, and the bores are finished to size. to accommodate the extra torque. Because what happens if you just re-sleeve a block and put the studs in at 190 Newton meters, the bores will go out of shape that bad. You'll have a lot of blow by and rings won't seal. So yeah, there's a few tricks there to be had. And there's another problem here. Once the glow plugs are in, the glow plug strap hits the top of the studs, so some work has to be done there. So there's a trick for new players as well. Another thing I like to do on big boosted ones is to put the late model turbo rockers on, which have got a nice long pad on the base of the rocker, and the rockers are a bit stronger in the body as well, so that is a lot better area to push onto the valve. So a lot of guys will just use the normal silver top rockers, which have got a small pad area on the bottom of the contact area here on the tip of the valve, which is okay to use, but in a nice high boosted build, it's good to try to find the later model rockers if you can and use them. And yeah, there's just a few tricks there on TD42 head tensioning.